like to welcome everybody to the renovated HRO studios here and welcome you to the HRO Sports Betting Podcast, our recap show here. I'm feeling awful purple and black, and
Right.
that's just how it works, but that's all right. That being said, had another nice week, buried it, and you keep cashing, and whenever you're pulling money from that window, that's always a good sign. So
Yeah, shoot, we're hitting over 65% right now. So,
yeah, that's
and that's just plays that we've given out here on the videos.
exactly,
So.
exactly. So I mean, having a heck of a year, and want to welcome everybody to watching. Our first game that we're going to recap, quite a ball game.
One of the best
this
games I've watched in a
yeah,
long time.
it was very entertaining. You had two excellent teams. I have to eat a little crow. I have not been on Tennessee all year long. I have not believed in them, and they have proved me wrong. And congratulations to the folks there in Tennessee and Rocky Top. They put on a heck of a show.
Go get some
Yeah.
money from the boosters to get some new goalposts because they are
Yeah,
gone.
those goalposts are gone, and usually I'm not somebody who says, you know what, you shouldn't rush the field. Fan, I'm not a big believer in that, but you know what, Tennessee, you deserved it. Still doesn't mean you're in the college football playoffs. You got to beat Georgia. You do
Yep,
that.
that's their game.
You do that,
That-
and then you beat Alabama again, then you're in. So, welcome to winning a game, a big game to win. Don't get me wrong, but did it, like you said last week, did it really mean anything
I mean,
in the grand picture of things?
yes, because it gives them more leeway if other things would happen. Like, let's say a TCU loses. If Tennessee loses to Georgia and then Georgia beats Bama, Tennessee's got a shot.
Yeah,
But it gives them some more slack on the road. But for the most part, and we talked about this in the preview, it doesn't matter. Like, even Alabama.
Yeah.
Alabama has to beat Ole Miss and then has to beat either Tennessee or Georgia in the title game. For Tennessee, it completely comes down to they got to beat Georgia and then they got
Yeah.
to win the SEC.
yeah.
If
They
they
got to
beat
win.
Georgia,
They still got to win out. In
Yeah,
my
it-
humble opinion, they got to
if
win
Tennessee beats Georgia but then would lose to an Alabama team that a one-loss Tennessee,
out. Yep.
they'd still have a chance, I think.
Yeah. Some things that have to roll.
I mean,
their
because
way.
with USC losing, UCLA might be able to sneak in if they're undefeated. I don't, but UCLA doesn't bring that brand like USC does. And with an average, I'll say real top-heavy Pac-12, you got Oregon, which is a nice team.
Yeah.
But because they don't play everybody,
yeah,
I mean,
All-
we'll see what UCLA, but UCLA still got to beat USC, who should still be undefeated.
all I can say is you got a Clemson team that's lurking out there, and you have two teams in the Big Ten that are looking every bit top four teams. It was a heck of a game. I thought both teams played very well, especially offensively, and it just came down to Tennessee wins on a bad field goal kick. I mean that ball. That was the ugliest looking field goal
It
that I've
almost
ever
looked
seen
like it
go
was
through.
blocked.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like a knuckleball.
Go through the upright. So congratulations to Tennessee. We didn't have anything on this game. I had a lean Alabama. That was the only loss I took on the leans the last week. So sorry for handing out that one, but it was
Alabama's got some problems.
Alabama's got some things they definitely got to work on. But kudos to Tennessee. Got to give them all the credit in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you got Alabama. This is by far the most penalized team that Nick Saban's ever had at Bama. I mean, out of the top 4 games of most penalties, 3 of them are this year for him, which definitely has to be cleaned up. From Tennessee, I mean, Hooker was a stud again.
Yeah.
But to me, the real breakout star was Hyatt, I think is the kid's name. The wide receiver for Tennessee that had over 200 yards and 5 receiving touchdowns.
Good.
I mean, he made himself a lot of money.
Yeah.
And showed more vulnerability with that Alabama secondary if you can actually take advantage of them. So
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that as well. And, there's some big games still left in the SEC, and both these teams are going to be part of it. And we'll talk about those on our show for the upcoming weekend. The next game we'd like to get to, once again in the SEC, and this was a lean that I had with Kentucky, and actually a game that you picked up that you told people about, dealing with, really keying on if the quarterback from Kentucky, Levis, was going to play or not. He did. You got money in, and that was something else that we were telling our viewers here, that you gotta seek out that information. And once you get that key information, that's when you can really make some money in this industry. So it was a W for us, and also not as entertaining a game, of course, as the Tennessee Alabama game, but still a nice win for Kentucky, a win they really needed, and just put them back on the map as being a quality team, quality program, and a better chance at a better bowl game for them. What was your take on the game, T?
So looking at this, I made Mississippi State -1 with Levis in. Was hanging right around that 7 most of the week. Got bet up, then it got bet back down. We got it at 6.5. Would have loved to get the 7. But we got 6.5. It was probably about the day before he was announced, and just people in circles that I communicate with, and just bounce ideas and different things off of like that. Started hearing that there was a pretty good chance he was gonna go.
Yeah.
And then this just being, it's an information game. If you can get information before a sports book, you have a little bit of an advantage. And this was just one of those cases where we were able to get that ticket on Kentucky plus 6.5.
Yeah.
Before the books took it down, reopened it, ended up closing at 3.5.
Yeah.
Where it opened 3.
Yeah.
But you give me the home team.
Yeah.
That was a lot of injuries for Kentucky, but a good Kentucky team nonetheless at home in a projected lower scoring game. Total closed at 50.
Yeah.
Plus almost a touchdown with the best player on the field. Potential top 5 NFL draft pick at quarterback. I'll take that all day long. And it broke down.
Yep.
Kentucky wins by double digits, and you move on. It was a W.
Yep. No. I've been high on Kentucky all year long. They've hurt me with some injuries, and being the cause of the problems for the team. But on the flip side, still a quality team, and I think it just goes to show the strength of the SEC when I have a Kentucky this highly rated, and they aren't even going to sniff an opportunity to get to the college football playoffs.
They got a couple losses. They lost that heartbreaker tight game to Ole Miss, and then dropped without Levis at quarterback. So
where would you have, as an example, T? Where would you have Kentucky versus a Clemson?
On neutral site.
On a neutral site, what do you think that game would be? Throw that in there. See, and you've got Kentucky a lot lower rated than I have them, so.
I've got Clemson about 10.5.
Yeah, see, and I would jump all over Kentucky on that one if that was it. Because, like I said, I've got them a little more highly rated. I really like what they can bring to the table. But that's just where they're at right now. So next game that we're going to talk about here on the HRO Sports Betting Podcast Recap Show is NC State at Syracuse. We had no play on this one, no lean. What this game did for me, though, was showed me Syracuse is ready for prime time. They get Clemson next week, and we'll find out. It'll probably pull that Clemson line a little further down, and that might be something I want to jump on. But we'll see when it gets that far. The early lines out tell me that wasn't it like round 2 touchdowns, which is I think is where it's going to be. But we'll see where it officially comes in on our next show on that one. Once again, great showing by Syracuse, and NC State, who I had rated pretty high, just slips a little bit more in the ACC. How'd you see it, T?
I made NC State a real slight favorite in this one. Just saying Syracuse hadn't really played anybody. When Leary was announced out, to be completely honest, I'll go back and watch this game during the week. This was not one of the multiple games that I was watching at the time. So, NC State without their quarterback,
Yeah.
couldn't
Lit-
do anything. Syracuse just checked out the box score on it. They were able to move the ball on the ground. I had no play on this one, and
Yeah.
like you said, I mean, we'll see what Syracuse is all about because
Yeah.
they got to play.
You'll check them out because they're playing Clemson this next
Yeah.
week, so we'll get a real good feel on when we broadcast that.
But as
so.
for NC State, I mean, we talked about it a little bit with Kentucky. When you don't have your starting quarterback,
Yeah.
you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, and Syracuse is a solid team,
Yeah.
but
They're good this year without
yeah,
question.
that's
Without that, we're going to move on next to Oklahoma State at TCU. Another big game in the Big 12. Game goes to overtime, thankfully. This one was a game that we had a play in, and it covered. And it covered, sometimes you get a little bit lucky, but sometimes you create your own luck. And T, I'm going to let you get into that a little bit more in depth on how we created our own luck to get a W on this one.
Well, first, I just want to say that we are lucky because the game went into double overtime. TCU wins 43-40. And I want to say in college football, triple overtime is when it goes to two-point conversions,
yep.
and we lose.
Yep.
Because, and I talked about this in the preview, this game opened 2, and this was one of the ones that I was kind of upset with myself about, that we didn't get to. We had a 2.5 ticket,
Yep.
And almost got burned by it. But that same kind of thing, and we talked about it with this past week, with TCU, I think it even was too.
Yeah.
This game closed 5.
Yeah.
If you got your ticket morning of, you lost.
Yep.
If
You
you got
went
your ticket
TCU.
early,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
And they were the right. I still think they were the right play, but yeah.
they made a nice comeback.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State was up multiple scores for a good
Yeah,
portion, of the game, and then the fourth
Yeah.
quarter TCU made a run, ended up sending it to overtime, and then we caught a break.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and one of the things about college sports is it's never a good thing when you've got a dog plus the points and the game goes to OT.
That
Never
is
a good
true.
thing. Overtime is where dogs go to die.
Yep.
And
I
with
agree
tickets,
wholeheartedly
it's
with that.
Never a good thing. But for us, we had the favorite. They ended up covering. Cash my ticket and pays
Yep.
out the same amount as if they would have won by 50.
Yep, it's still that cash you get still green even when you get a little lucky on it. So with that, we're going to be moving right along to another game where I got to eat some more crow on this one. Penn State versus Michigan. I'll be the first to admit I underrated Michigan. I thought they were a very good team. I have now moved them up into an elite status team. Congratulations to Jim Harbaugh. So far, all those bugaboos that he's had in the past about, choking away some games along the way, he's taken a step up. That team is good.
Yeah, they are.
And that team
They're
is
very
good. And they made what I still think is a good Penn State team look
Terrible.
off.
I mean, a top
awful.
5 rush defense
Yeah,
that
I
gave
mean-
up 400 plus yards on the ground.
I don't know what to say. That one was I got to give Michigan all the credit in the world, and I overrated Penn State. So that being said, Michigan definitely does move into my elite status, top 4, and they're
still think
looking
there's a
for
gap
that.
between the top 3, and then you've got like 4 or 5, like
Yeah.
the Clemson, Michigan.
Yeah, I'm not.
In fact, I think there's still a multiple point gap
Yes,
between the
I'm,
top 3 and everybody else.
I'm not
but
disagreeing. I still think Ohio State will handle them when they get that far, but
I mean, we'll see.
we'll see. This Michigan team is pretty solid. Your thoughts
I mean,
on the game?
I just took a picture of the box score at halftime, and first downs was 18-1 for
Yep.
Michigan. Total yards was 274 to 83. But remember, 62 of those 83 yards were on Sean Clifford's read option that he kept.
Yeah.
And somehow Penn State was within 2 at halftime. I mean, if I had a Michigan first half ticket, I would have been irate.
Oh yeah,
I would have been so heated.
I agree.
But I mean, this wasn't even a game.
Yeah, it was just this is just an old fashioned beating.
Yeah,
I mean, they
it
took
was
them
bad.
back out behind the woodshed the second half and just said, "You are not going to be close."
Yeah.
And kudos to Michigan. I mean, they were impressive, and going forward, um, I just think that's going to be a good team. I think they have now propelled themselves into the spotlight so far that if their only loss is to Ohio State, it's going to make things interesting on the old college football
Depends
playoffs.
on the SEC because
yeah.
the SEC is just so much deeper
Yeah.
that Michigan, and especially because Michigan State isn't
performing as well.
so that hurts the Big Ten a little
I
bit.
agree. Penn State beating Auburn isn't as good a win
No.
as
Auburn's not very good. I mean, Auburn's a bottom
bottom
of the
SEC
pack
team.
SEC.
So there's a lot of things that fell into that, but I like this Michigan squad. They're going to walk away with, if they don't make the college football playoffs or Ohio State, they're going to propel themselves into a really nice bowl game.
Yeah.
So
I mean, with this game, I made it 12. I ended up getting to the window on this one at 6.5.
yep.
I know we really disagreed on that one because you
Yeah.
really liked Penn
I
State.
did. Yep.
This is just one of those things where you got to make sure you're shopping your lines.
Yes.
You look at MGM. This game never moved off 7, but
Yep.
right down the road at Caesars, this game was flirting between 6.5 and 7 for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I got it at 6.5.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered, but this.
But another.
It's
yeah.
just another one that we talked about, and I had mentioned in our preview that if this got below a touchdown, it would be a play for me.
Yeah.
Due to shopping, I was able to get that under a touchdown, so
Yeah.
capped off a nice 3-0 week with plays that we gave off in our preview videos.
No. So once again, that's just a good opportunity to understand how shopping a line and how understanding how you can move forward and make money in this
I mean, it's
industry.
being a professional sports bettor
Exactly.
versus
That's
just somebody casual.
That's the difference, And if you're stuck, you only got one person you can bet through, or one casino to bet through. You're at their
Typical,
mercy.
unless you're DraftKings. Even though, did you see that?
No.
Oh, so they boosted. Was it Justin Herbert to throw a touchdown pass to plus 100 to even money, and he didn't throw it? It was probably the single biggest play that a book has ever. I would imagine. I don't know the numbers, but single biggest bet that the book has won. Like huge. DraftKings made bank.
Anyhow, we're on our next game. We're on to is USC at Utah. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say this might have been one of the most. I can't say biased. I could say biased.
And we didn't have a play on this, by the way. We had no money on the line. This was just
I
purely
leaned
from
USC. I did. I'll be the first to admit I leaned USC. It won, and I'm not a real fan of the University of Spoiled Children. Let's just put that out there. I am not a big USC guy. I'm not a. Lincoln Riley has impressed me, and I think this is definitely a team. They are becoming a college power, and after the transfer portal
watch
and
out for
recruits,
them to potentially win a national title and compete next year.
I am really sad to see them join the Big Ten and be another team that's going to whoop up on my Wisconsin Badgers. However, hopefully that won't be the case. But I'm telling you this, they got jobbed. I mean, there is no other way for me to put this.
Bad.
I'm watching the game with really, I had it as a lean. Just full disclosure, I had no money on the game.
Yeah,
I had it as a lean, and man, it was like, remember the Titans when they were trying to job the Titans. I kept waiting for one of the coaches to come off the sidelines and say, hey, I'm going to turn you guys into the commissioner. This was bad. I'm telling you this right now, Pac-12, this is bad. And if this is how you're going to treat USC and UCLA, you folks might better join the Big Ten next year, because that was awful. And this is from a coach telling you this. Holy cow, that was bad. T, your thoughts on the game?
So I made this one Utah -4. So it was no play for that. And just echoing off of what you got into, I mean, I feel bad if you had a USC money line. Now, part of it is on them. You can't give up 40-plus points to a good team and expect to win at a high rate.
Yeah.
However, that roughing the passer call might be a top 5 worst call in any sport I have ever watched, and I watch a ton of sports.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch a lot, whether basketball, football, doesn't matter. That call that directly put 7 points on the board for Utah because he threw an interception on it in the end zone. USC forced the turnover, and it should have been a touchback USC football. They were already up 14-0. Their following possession, they ended up scoring a touchdown anyway.
Yeah.
So don't hand me any of the BS where it was in the first quarter.
Yeah.
It didn't
all
matter.
Makes a difference.
The people who say that have zero concept of the term of momentum.
Not only that, if I may, it's not only momentum, it changes the situation. This is what people fail to understand, and when I would ride referees early on because they'd make a call, if you can put a team away early and kill their morale, you're down 21-0. You're on the verge of just crushing their will.
Yeah, the crowd's completely out of it.
There are so many things that can work in your favor if you can crush the will of your opponent early. It's from a coaching point of view, that's what you want. That's if you can get to that edge, and just push them over the edge, boy, that's what you want.
Yeah, especially because, Utah punted on their next possession anyway, so USC would have had the ball up 21-0, where they hadn't been stopped.
Yeah.
It was just...
It could have been over right there and then. Over right there and then. And for that to be taken away, I always told my teams, you can't always win a game in the first half or first quarter, but you can definitely lose it. And when he threw that interception, they lost the game.
Yeah,
to me, they lost the game. They had a chance to score. They come away with no points, and all of a sudden you see the laundry on the field.
When the game
and
starts,
going,
USC touchdown, Utah missed field
goal,
goal, USC touchdown, and then the pick that wasn't a pick that resulted in a touchdown for Utah. And then after that, USC gets the ball, scores again, and Utah punts. It's a wrap.
Yeah, but it wasn't, and you're going to look at it at the end of the year, it's still a loss that probably knocks USC out of the college football playoffs, no matter how you wrap that. And
again, they need help.
Well, yeah, they need too much help.
The Pac-12 does have enough top-end teams.
Well, dominoes would have to fall the right way. Yeah,
they definitely, Clemson would have to lose. If Syracuse beats Clemson this week, and then Clemson would lose in the ACC title game and take the ACC completely out of the playoff picture. Same thing with like a TCU in the Big 12, because they're being undefeated. If there's no undefeated team in the Big 12 or ACC, the Big 10 just isn't good enough. Then that's what's going to hurt the loser of Michigan Ohio State. Is outside of that game. Like Michigan, their best win. Yeah, Penn State, but we'll see what Penn State ends up doing the rest of the year. They could top 20 team maybe. I have Penn State.
I have Penn State right now in the top.
16.
Yeah, I've got them. I've still got them top 20. So for me, the situation is this: those teams in the Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, got to be undefeated. If you're not going to put forth an undefeated team,
or upsets have to happen.
Yeah. But I just believe they got to be undefeated, because you're going to get two teams from the SEC then, and you may very well get a second team from the Big Ten. And
I don't think the Big Ten gets to. I think the SEC getting to is very possible.
Yeah. Well, I think that's I'm looking that as almost a foregone conclusion.
A 2-loss Alabama, if Alabama would win out and lose to a Tennessee or a Georgia, I don't know if there'd be 2.
Yeah, but
then your best bet at 2 would be Georgia and Tennessee.
See, I could see that.
Depends on the game. It'd have to be a close.
Anyhow, in my power ratings, I have both Michigan and Ohio State in the top 5, and the other SEC teams are in the top 5.
Yeah.
So we agree wholeheartedly on that. So that being said. Good luck to the committee keeping having just 2 Power 5 conferences represented in the college football playoffs.
Can you imagine Big Ten champ versus SEC runner-up and vice
Yep.
versa?
You may very well see it, and folks get
2024 would be the first expanded playoff. There's no way that the other conferences would let that fly.
Well, you may
get that
you
expansion as soon
may
as
see
humanly
it this
possible.
you may see it this year because Syracuse upsets Clemson, and Oregon beats a good UCLA team.
We'll see.
Who are you going to take? And then TCU drop kicks one, which to a good Texas team, in the Big 12 title. Texas
Well, they
is
got to
bad,
play them in the.
and they got them
TCU's
coming up,
yeah,
don't they?
They play later in the year.
Yeah. So I mean, there's no guarantees out there. So good luck. Good luck right across the
See how
board
the
to how
dominoes
that's going to
fall.
work. Yeah. But anyhow, my apologies to USC.
I mean, they got screwed.
they
But
got-
they still give up 43 points. Couldn't stop a two-point
Yeah.
conversion where they had a chance to win the
Yeah.
football game right there.
Yeah, well, they had opportunities, and that's
but
what
yeah,
every
they got
referee will tell you. Well, you still had opportunities.
Yeah.
Well, if you would have jobbed me in the first half,
Well, it wasn't
they
ju- I
wouldn't
mean,
even
the
it wouldn't have
amount
even
of-
been a thought.
The amount of drive-saving penalties, little
Yeah.
tick-tack
Oh,
things.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
It was
just,
it
come
was
on.
throughout. It was throughout the game to the point where
It was tough
games
to watch.
like that are tough to watch, especially when you're a sports bettor, because it's games like that just kill you on the
Well, and
inside
you understand
'cause
how
you
much
lose
money
trust.
is on the line
Yeah.
on both
Oh,
sides
yeah.
of it. That even though we didn't have a play,
Yeah.
like the amount of people that
Yeah.
I'm sure, and
Yeah.
USC was this week, and I wasn't a huge fan of the slate because I mean it was a very public dog heavy slate, and USC being one of them. I mean the
Yeah.
amount of people that had a USC money line tick in their pocket was probably pretty
Oh,
substantial.
substantial, I would say. So, with that, once again, though, another successful week for you, over 65%, and that is recorded here. That's bringing in big bucks. So, that being said, congratulations once again, there, T. You're killing it. You're absolutely killing it out there.
Yeah,
And
with
my
those
leans
three
turned
added in,
into a 2-1.
60, just under 69% we're hitting,
Wow.
which is
That's phenomenal.
documented plays.
Documented plays.
Yeah.
Documented plays.
Go
Not-
back and watch the videos.
Not
They're all
not
there. We're
not
taking
people
anything
saying,
down.
"Boom, we had another 3-0 week here, made a
Yeah, no, all the plays are.
$2 million on it." Going, yeah, buddy, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
These are documented. They are right here. You're looking at two faces telling you this, Coach and T, and it. I tell you what, T's doing the job on this one. These are his documented plays, just under 69%.
Which I want to bring this up real quick here at the end of this one. As far as going forward, we just wanted to talk about this real quick. We are having a fantastic college football season, as we were just talking
Yeah.
about percentage-wise. What I do is college basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, my main sport is college basketball. I do this every single year. I bet football until basketball starts,
Yep.
and then come November 7th, I focus
So
on
focus on
basketball.
basketball.
And we do still bet like bowl season type stuff.
Yeah, yep.
Because I think you can make a lot of money. Because bowl season's all just an information game.
Yes.
Who's gonna play?
Who's gonna play?
But we haven't completely decided how we're gonna keep handling the videos and previews going forward, because again we are within a couple weeks now of basketball
Yep.
starting.
Exactly.
And if any of you guys are professional handicappers in college basketball, that's night in,
Oh.
night out, you know how much of a grind that really is.
Yeah.
So I put all my focus into that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
the plays we may still do some videos and stuff, but the plays probably not going to be as many, just strictly because I'm not going to give out a play that I haven't put my due diligence into researching.
Exactly.
Because I don't want anybody to lose money
Yeah.
because I'm half-assing my job. So.
Yeah, yeah, we would never do that. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody for watching the HRO, newly renovated HRO studio here in the HRO Sports Betting Podcast Recap Show. And we'll see you at the window.